One of the first things we have to do with the RV roof magic is get a really good prep on there. So what I'm going to do, I have some dish soap and I'm going to wash it down, scrub it with a brush, and then I'm going to wash it down with some bleach to kill out some of the mold spores, which as you can see right there with the mold spores. And then after we use the bleach, I'm going to use some simple green. I'll kind of walk you through that step as well. It's now hosed down and we are ready to scrub. I have the dish soap in here for step one. About 20 minutes later, we have the first washing down. We did get a lot of dirt off, so I'm going to do it at least 2 more times. Like I said, one more time with the bleach to kill some of those mold spores, and then I'm also going to do it one time with simple green and see where we're at that point. So far I washed it down with some dish soap, and then I used some bleach a couple times, and then I went back with dish soap. One of the reasons why I did a couple times of the bleach is because there were a lot of mold spores, and as you can tell, it did take away a lot of those mold spores that were growing. We want to start with a nice clean foundation to put the RV roof magic on so it does adhere properly. It does have some of the antimicrobials in it to prevent mold and mildewcides, to prevent that in the future. But we want to start with a nice clean thorough foundation. So right now I'm going to go back and use some simple green, and that will be my final wash for the night, and then tomorrow we can start with applying in the next steps. Sun's going down, and we just spent the last hour and a half or so washing the roof to prep it for tomorrow. We did, like I said before, the dish soap, we did some bleach, and then a final thing is simple green, hosed down really nice. Hopefully it'll dry it well overnight, and we'll check it out in the morning. So after washing the roof, we let it dry overnight. It is pretty bone dry. It still has some like chalkiness, but you're gonna get that anyhow. I'm just going over the seams right now, making sure that everything looks okay. It does look like we have some cracking, so I might try to peel up some of that caulk just so I can re-caulk it later, but you can paint right over the old caulk. And we're just gonna go over that, and then we'll tape it up, and I'll be back right then. As you can see, I'm just using a putty knife to remove some of the old caulk on the front seam. I think that's kind of where some of the leaking may have been. It wasn't too bad of leaking, so we just want to be preventative and make sure that this works. And we're just kind of peeling it off. We'll paint over it. I didn't remove all the caulk. I only removed some of the loose stuff, as well as some of the ones with the more severe cracks in it. We'll just clean this up and get it ready for the rest of the prep. Take off the cover that I already took off for the max air vent, and I'm taking off some of the caulk. I'm going to replace the vents, so I'm going to take off the caulk down here, and I'm going to paint over it and then put some the new vents on top. I just got done using spray bottle, washing down all the seams. I checked all the seams, made sure there were no cracks or anything, and now I'm going to use some painter's tape to paint around the perimeter so I don't kind of make a mess of it, so I have some nice straight clean lines, and So it's time for a perimeter check. After I washed it, I cleaned the seams, checked the seams, removed some of the old caulk, some of the cracked caulk, and then I just applied some painter's tape along, just so I don't make a mess and I kind of know where to go. I'll use a brush first off, and then I'll go over with a roller after. So we have the RV Magic that just came in the mail, just a quick unboxing. It's nice and wrapped. We picked the RV Magic since it chemically bonds to the roof, and they went with 4 gallons, mainly to coat the roof based on our calculator. So we'll go over just the RV Roof Magic, and in no time at all, with no primer needed, we'll have it nice sealed up. I just used a regular paintbrush and I went along the perimeter of the roof where I taped it off just to get a nice thick coat. I also went around my vents as well as the old caulking. It is self-leveling, so it is turned out nicely. Just went over it, and I'm gonna go ahead, get the roller out and go from there. First I want to tape off some of the spots because it says 1 gallon should cover about 40 to 50 square feet, and I want to make sure that I get the right thickness of the sealant. Now that the border is complete and I did all the trim work, especially around some of the old caulking around the refrigerator vent as well as the air conditioner, skylight and everything, as you can see, I'm gonna chalk off or tape off about 6 feet to get the proper coverage. They do say it's about 50 square feet per gallon, and I have 4 gallons, so that comes out to be about 200 square feet. So I'm just gonna roughly chalk it off every 6 feet, and we should be in good shape so I can understand more about the coverage. So I did have a slight soft spot in the roof to begin with. I think it's mainly because of electrical due to the fan right there. So it was a little soft. So I did slice it open a little bit. I used some caulk I used to reseal it. So just razor blade, some resealing caulk, let it press with some bricks. And then I applied some of the RV Roof Magic on it, and the self-leveling capabilities are quite impressive so far. It looks like there's no seam, and we should be in pretty good shape. I'll take a look at it and kind of keep my eyes on it. But so far, self-leveling, nice thick layer of the RV Roof Magic, and looks like we're in good shape. We have a midway update. So I chalked it off and used kind of the proper amount. It went on thick, but not as thick as I was kind of expecting. So I might have some areas to touch up looking at it from up above too later on. But we're about halfway done with the application, and you can see the difference. The bright white, it looks fantastic, and it is self-leveling, so some of the stuff is going to level out a little bit. I do have a couple of drip marks, but that's just kind of how it is when you do work yourself a little bit. So it's looking great. We're in good shape. I'm going to finish up the rest of it, and we should be good to go for the day, so it shouldn't be too much longer. So we're over here finishing up the last can of the RV Roof Magic, just using a 3/8 nap roller. It does get a little sticky, so be sure to wear some rubber gloves. They stick to everything. And I learned the hard way to saran wrap my knees because it does stick to your skin. And it's going on smoothly, as you can tell. It's nice, brilliant white coat, and it's looking pretty good so far. Over the last 48 hours, I let the RV Roof Magic dry. We did get a fairly decent thunderstorm last night, so there are some wet spots on it. I did check inside. It did fix that leaking spot that I was more concerned about, which is kind of the purpose for the RV Roof Magic. Overall, process has been pretty good. Goes on nice and smooth, nice and thick, and it's been kind of great to just see it perfectly brilliant white. And it's looking pretty good. I'll take up the tape and we'll get the nice crisp seams. So overall, it's been a fairly straightforward process. I know I walked you through most of it. Just when you're up there, be careful since you are off the ground. The RV Roof Magic is a little slick when it's wet, but as you can see, it just is this nice white coat. Fairly straightforward, fairly simple, and they have some pretty great customer service that's always willing to answer any questions and kind of walk you through the process if you need to as well.